Hey traders, Spartan from SpartanTrading.com. Want to hit you guys with a special video. We have an interview with the CEO of PTX. And if you guys have been following the story, we've been on it for quite some time since last October, from 6 cents all the way to 17. It was a beautiful ride there. Came back, some consolidation has been occurring, and it's finally ready for another breakout. So I figured let's get the CEO on the line. Let's talk to him, figure out what's going on with the name, what the catalysts are going forward, and how we can take advantage of that. Now, this video was disseminated on behalf of PTX, PANXF on the OTC, and that's PTX.V on the Canadian exchange. Let's take a look at the chart real quick here, guys. So what do we see? We see some bullish consolidation, a lot of liquidity. Looks like the sellers are done on the name. It was consolidating for quite some time. Back above the 50 EMA, and all EMA supports are curling back to the upside. Last time we saw that, we did see that larger move off the lows from 6 cents back to that 17-cent area. Typically, when you get those EMAs crossing up above that 50 EMA, you get a pretty decent spike. Looks like in the most part from the past. So I'm watching that. I want to see a break above that basically 11-cent area, and I think you can get a nice little push towards 12, and then so on and so forth to the upside there. But anyways, guys, let's jump into our little interview with the CEO of PTX. And we'll come back at the end of this video and we'll talk about what's going on moving forward. All right, guys, this is Greg. We're joined by the CEO of PTX. Welcome, Greg. I want to ask you a few questions today. Before we get going, is there anything that in the short term that we should know about the story or the name in the going forward?
Yeah, sure. Well, nice seeing you again, Chris, and thanks for having me on, and happy to discuss PTX with your investor base. Yeah, so we've built quite an exciting company, PTX. As you know, we trade on the venture under the symbol PTX, and also in the US under PANXF. And I'm based in Toronto. It's an all Ontario vehicle, which is obviously a great jurisdiction. It's a great mining jurisdiction. And I know there's a lot of developments and investment coming in to improve the sector. And we've put together a portfolio of very high quality projects in two of the best geological regions, arguably in the world, the Ring of Fire and the Abitibi in and around Shining Tree. So we own the W2 copper nickel platinum palladium project that's at the resource stage, and then we've also got a gold portfolio down in the southern part of Ontario.
Awesome. Well, I have a few questions for you, Greg. So let's just kind of dive into it. So
Sure.
PTX Metals has shifted its focus, to critical minerals, which I think in this space and especially in this market makes complete sense. So copper, nickel, platinum, and those group of elements, which of course, as we know, guys, are vital for green energy, semiconductors, tech, electrification. Can you share with us some of the unique advantages PTX has in its exploration projects, particularly in Canada, that position it for a capital growth and the demanding, with the capital growing demand for these sectors and these metals?
Yeah, sure. Happy to do so. Yes. So you're right. We did expand about 3 years ago into critical minerals. We already had that existing flagship gold project, which is right beside IAMGOLD's new Cote mine.
Yeah.
But we decided to expand into copper, nickel, cobalt, and platinum palladium. It's a polymetallic project, which is quite interesting. And the reason we did that was obviously there's a big push in Ontario to develop this new camp in the Ring of Fire. They want to have a large copper nickel camp like Sudbury. So I knew investment, I knew majors would be getting involved with that camp.
Yeah.
And we kept our strategy though of focusing on top geological regions. It's a big scale project, so I've made about 5 acquisitions to put it all back together. Great jurisdiction like the Timmins camp, and I see a lot of potential in terms of an exit strategy with what we're doing, which is very important for your investors. And we're surrounded, by majors like Teck and
Mhm.
IAMGOLD, for example. And the strategy from here is, we're going to de-risk these assets, and as the government funds the infrastructure, to get the copper, to get the cobalt into the manufacturing system in the U.S., to build, what you were talking about earlier. But we think we're, really well positioned with our current portfolio.
Awesome. Well, Greg, retail traders are often looking for, and institutions are often looking for companies that have strong growth potential. Could you highlight PTX Metals' most promising projects such as the W2 copper nickel PGE project, and explain how they could drive significant value for shareholders in the near to long term?
Yeah, sure. Well, I think now is a great time for your investors to be looking at PTX. And just generally speaking, the commodity sector, as you know, is becoming much more attractive.
Mhm.
And this is a bit of a value play, in my opinion. A lot of the stocks in this sector, they'll make a discovery, they'll be trading with 100, 150 million market cap and a lot of risk on those next drill results. In our case, what we've been doing over the last 3 years, fairly quietly, we've been, bought these quality assets, we've been de-risking them. So
Yeah.
what that means, we've been doing metallurgy, we've been drilling, and we've been putting a resource together. And now it's a very attractive entry point when you look at our portfolio, just the copper project, we've got the gold project, which, could be divested. We've also got an equity position in a uranium company that's going public, and we've also got some net smelter royalties. And I think the big driver, as an example, would be we have a resource on W2. It's based on a lot of historical work done by two really good operators. So what we're doing is we're reconfirming that drilling. We're going to show the market can get a lot larger, and we're de-risking it with metallurgy, showing the recoveries are strong. And then that is, majors will then look to buy these things at, probably 10, 20 times what we're trading at today. And the market will start getting behind it as they see the resource comes out. They see the good work we're doing. The institutions will come in, and then the market cap will increase, and the liquidity will improve. And these things just kind of have a sort of a snowball effect as they get going.
Yeah. And we've seen a little bit of consolidation in the market as of late, especially in the region. Greg, do you mind sharing with us kind of, maybe some of the majors that you're positioned beside, or kind of talking about some of the consolidation within the market that you're seeing happening, and how that could relate to PTX going forward?
Sure. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's a good point, and it's another thing investors should be keeping an eye on is these majors, for example, like an Eagle, for example, or IM Gold, for example, or Eris Tech. Their bottom lines are improving significantly with the higher prices, and they've been very disciplined in terms of managing their costs. They're now going to want to start putting money back into exploration plays, resource plays, for their future pipeline. So for the example, with our Shining Tree project, Eris recently sold their Juby deposit. If, for example, that camp was consolidated, something a major wouldn't want to do, but if the 3 or 4 owners were consolidated, you're probably looking at, say, a 5 to 10 million ounce resource potential, very much like Cote, which is right beside us, a 20 million ounce resource owned by IM Gold. That then you're looking at something that, say, a major would buy, like IM Gold or Alamos or an Eagle. So that's the kind of stuff that, may not have worked 3 or 4 years ago when the markets were tough, but now that the commodity prices are stronger, you're going to start seeing a lot more of that M&A, and then improve valuations, and majors wanting to take risk again. So that's a big thing that we're looking at. And the same thing with our Ring of Fire, as the infrastructure comes in and that Eagle's Nest project is built, you'll see a lot more investment and a lot more majors coming into that camp, like perhaps, Rio Tinto, BHP, for example.
Mhm. Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you, Greg. Obviously, guys, as consolidation happens, it tends to snowball in the commodity sector market. So it's great to hear it from you, Greg, and great to understand, what's going on with the company. Just the last question I have, and just to kind of a reiteration, what are the catalysts and milestones that we should be watching for in the next 12 to 18 months with the company or within the sector itself?
Yeah, well, I mean, from the sector, I think, yeah, probably more M&A. It looks like prices like gold, copper, platinum, palladium are all, silver are all going to continue increasing,
Yeah.
which will bring back a lot of the risk capital. And then for us specifically, as mentioned earlier, we did a lot of de-risking. I put together a very good board, lots of diversified experience on that board, a technical team that's worked in the region of these projects, obviously very important. We listed on the TSX Venture, a much better regulated, a much more liquid exchange. We've been raising a lot of capital, improving our shareholder base. And so now, with that, I think it's a very attractive entry point for investors. And we've done a lot of that basic de-risking. But for us, I think the big catalyst will be getting the mineral resource, that's compliant on W-2 because that will allow us to trade with our peers. Because currently we're using a lot of that historical drilling as mentioned.
Yeah.
And then getting the metallurgy done, I see that because then, majors can look up the asset and see the size, the growth potential, and the fact that the recoveries are attractive. And then, a lot of people know I like to do a lot of M&A myself. So you could see us doing a corporate transaction where we sell an asset. We could even pick up other assets because there's still a lot of, cheaply priced assets out there. And then also, as mentioned, we've been looking to list our uranium company that we own an equity position of. So you can see a transaction developing there. There'll be a very strong leader coming in to run that, which I'm quite excited about that. I'll continue working on PTX, but we'll be a shareholder of that. So that's another big catalyst. And then I think just in the sector, Ontario is pushing to streamline its mining. We're already a big Canada is obviously a big mining jurisdiction now. Top in uranium, potash, copper, gold. But the governments are focused on streamlining these projects and getting more employment and more mines in production. So I think that's a big benefit to be in Canada compared to a lot of other jurisdictions.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I appreciate the time, Greg. And again, guys, the ticker symbols are PTX.V on the Canadian Exchange, as well as PANXF on the OTC. Greg, thank you for your time, and we'll chat again soon.